Hey everybody, what's up? I hope that you're all doing well. We are here with a timeless reading. We're starting off first with Queen of Cups and Four of Wands. I'm seeing there be a notion here of collaboration. What this can mean is that if you've been going through something where there was some internal or emotional turmoil that you were experiencing, for many of you this can be in a relationship or something that is a system, an establishment that is actively present within your life. Can be a relationship, like a personal relationship, it can be a work situation, can be a dynamic with a parent. Whatever it is, it's something that you can feel like you thrive when this thing is stable, when it's working how it's supposed to. And not stable because we're pushing all of the problems down or away, but more so like things are actually functioning the way that they're supposed to. And then it emanates that vibe of peace just as a natural consequence of that. So from the bottom up, this feels to me seeing Queen of Cups and seeing Four of Wands there. And this can feel like a personal victory for you. It can feel like you're coming out of the brush now. What this can mean too is that if there was something with your spirituality, your relationship with your spirituality, your spirit guides, your belief systems, if something like wonky was going on, this can also be a time where you feel more settled, when you feel more at peace, where you can feel like there was some type of struggle that you're not struggling with anymore. That can be part of it too. But most of all, it's going to be about how you feel on the inside about it. The feeling of it, and it will be a good feeling. It will be an enjoyable feeling. There can be a choice to allow something to die off completely only because it feels like, isn't that what's meant to happen now? I'm seeing Two of Swords and I'm seeing Page of Wands here. This can mean that you're attempting to make up your mind about a path that you want to be on, but you can feel undecided still. I am seeing a tower on the bottom of the deck. Not sure what that's about yet, but we will see. There can be some spontaneity to this. I kind of get this feeling like there's a passion right in front of you that feels very obvious to go in that direction. That's where you actually would like to be. But something about the Two of Swords here feels like you can't see it for some reason. It's like behind that one thought, if you get behind it, what you're going to see is that there's a very clear and obvious path here. And this will be something that you feel very, very happy to do, very, very inspired to do. This is something that feels fun. This is something that feels creative. It's something that feels warm to you. There's warmth within that. There's energy within that. It's something that will increase your sense of purpose and flourishing, your vitality being connected to it with the sun there, your joy being connected to it with the sun there. Feels like if Two of Swords wasn't here, I'd say that you have a very exciting path in front of you that you're looking at. This is something you're going to be really pleased and very happy about. This is a really great fit for you. But having Two of Swords there is like you're not seeing that for some reason. I don't know if it's too soon right now, but let's see if we can figure out what's in the way. Why do we have the Two of Swords here? Why is this not being seen? What is blocking this? May not be grounded enough to see right now. There can be something going on emotionally that would be getting in the way of you seeing this. That can be part of this. Anything else? There's definitely a block here for sure from seeing that. This feels social to me. How would something social, emotional, be getting in the way of you seeing something that has to do with your passion and inspiration? It feels even like, I wonder if this is like a circle that you're stuck within or something socially that you're sort of tied to that isn't allowing you to branch out in some way that you want to. We're gonna get further and see about this if that's not making sense yet. There definitely is some type of emotional work that's being done here because some type of balance needs to be brought that is a little bit out of place right now. What is this about? It's basically, there's something going on that feels like an option that actually is not. It doesn't compare to this at all, but it may sort of be not allowing you to see that one path is very clear and the other one is not. Because this feels about choices. Like it's about choices. And that there are options here, but one path is clearly not the path. Like I can see energetically, but from where you're standing emotionally, that's why this can't, that's why this isn't being seen. Like something isn't being seen as an obvious choice, even though I'm seeing that it's an obvious choice. I feel like it's something that that you may be socially connected to. Even something emotionally that you haven't reconciled totally within yourself. I do feel like the gravitational pull of this path is really calling you that way. And it will feel too in a way like an obvious choice because this is something that respects your individuality and your freedom, and it feels like the other path would sort of make you conform in some type of way. That would take something away from you that you may not really want to give up. Okay. We have the High Priestess here, which is about really tuning in. The moon and the sun connecting with one another. This is about light being brought to what's happening in your internal world so you can really see it. Moon, internal experience. Sun, external experience. Moon, how you're feeling. Sun is going to be about how you express yourself. Moon, that emotional experience. Sun, gonna be the behavior. So you want to do something that is reflective of a pure space for you where you are emotionally. And that something will feel very obvious to move in the direction of. Because this almost feels like an opposition that links. Because I see oppositions as sometimes it can feel like a choice, like one energy or the other, but I see oppositions ultimately as clearing this path where you can have these two somewhat differing energies actually have a common thread that connect one another. So having High Priestess and then having the Sun, this is about the thing that will feel even emotionally liberating to you. It can be about the thing that you feel you want to run towards, and that really is the way to go here with this, like out of joy, out of inspiration, out of wanting to, I just imagine like a little kid being in a field running towards something with excitement will emanate that type of feeling for you. Having Queen of Cups and having the High Priestess here, it shows that you have a very deep capacity to be able to go within and to be able to soul search. And there's something that needs to be understood, maybe about what your Sun is asking of you. And what that means is, when it comes to an area that you want to be expressing yourself within, what is that? And this Page of Wands feels like a path, a perfect opportunity for you to be doing exactly this thing that is going to honor yourself and honor the way that you want to express yourself. I wonder if there's a part of you that's still holding back a little bit, because you might feel like you have something to protect here. A consideration of some sort. We got a long way to go still. So Queen of Cups, High Priestess, when we talk about this in the context of problem solving, it's about really having to do a deep dive and figure out what your heart is telling you here. What is your soul telling you? Like, if you could take away everyone from this and just focus on yourself, and the part of you that's the High Priestess is the part of you that is like totally aligned with yourself and knowing of the best path for you. The thing that is most resonating with you. This feels like ultimately it's going to lead to the Sun, which will be how you shine and how you express something. And the Moon and High Priestess feels like getting clear on what that is that you want to be shining and that you want to be reflecting and what you want to be expressing. And Moon is also connected with what you care about, what matters to you, what you feel connected to naturally. This isn't like what in the world am I supposed to do here? This feels like very obvious what you're naturally attracted to or what you're not attracted to. What naturally brings stuff up for you versus what doesn't. So having the High Priestess here, it's not like you have to make something up. You just have to tune in and it will speak for itself. So you don't have to go searching for something or making up something that isn't there. This is more so just tuning into actually what's already there, having the High Priestess. And it's that part of yourself, it's that core part of yourself here. And then your behavior is going to be reflective of that feeling. And then you'll feel like your Moon is happy and your Sun is happy. And they are counterparts, so they actually do need to go together. So it's great that these are being linked, but maybe there was something that wasn't being seen. Like maybe you were feeling one thing and then there's another part of you that's like, I'm feeling like I'm not getting to tap into this potential of mine that I have here. And when you get to the core of what both of these energies want, when you get to a place that's pure enough, what they want will be compatible with one another. Rather than there being an offset and feeling like you need to make some type of choice when there isn't a choice. There's only one clear path here with this. There might be something that you're actually having a hard time admitting to yourself. I'm seeing. Maybe that's part of the reason why this deep dive wasn't really happening, because if you go down there, there's stuff that you're going to have to see, and it can be stuff that feels kind of painful to work with. There's other stuff there, but that's definitely one of the things that I'm seeing here. What's this about? Feels actually kind of unexpected to see this. Maybe it was something that wasn't totally realized before, though. Five of Cups is being clarified by Page of Cups and the Lovers. This has to do with a feeling between you and a partner of sorts. It can be something that you didn't want to admit to, though. The Lovers can be a close friend, it can be a romantic partner, it can be a business partner. It feels very much like it can be a relationship with anybody. It's somebody that you care about. Having it be the Lovers, it indicates that there is love there within the connection, there is appreciation there within the connection, there is partnership there within the connection, and I see this as just being a one-on-one relationship. So I'm not seeing this have to do with a bunch of people. It's like you and one other person that this has to do with. Something going on an emotional level. Five of Cups is feeling like there's actually something that you were feeling sad about. There's actually something that you could have felt really let down about, or hurt, but there being more of a sense of loss in it rather than it being explicit pain. This is more so like what could have been or what could be or what I was hoping for, and then feeling like you got let down. It's more so that type of vibe. So it's something that's being worked out emotionally, and something that until that thing is worked out we can't move past. And that is actually what's seen when we connect with the High Priestess. So the High Priestess is saying, there's actually something here that needs to be looked at, but it can be difficult to look at because then you have to relive that moment where something very unpleasant happened. That was the feeling. However, it indicates something more to you. And there can be a going deeper into that as well. This feels like an emotion that maybe you were hiding from yourself, or a feeling that you were hiding from yourself, or something that you were experiencing on an internal level that you're exploring now. The relationship is being worked on. Seeing that the Lovers go back in with Temperance, which shows that this dynamic that you have with this person, it feels like it's currently a work in progress. I'm not seeing anything abrupt need to happen to have Temperance there. Temperance is about figuring out this level with this person together. Multiplayer. I'm also seeing a moving through that Five of Cups. I don't want to make any assumptions here, but I definitely am getting a little bit of a vibe here with this. I want to see the rest of the cards though. Conflict. Where is the conflict coming from? Disappointment first, tension later. Disappointed first, upset first, hurt first, tension, conflict after. But also to this being, and this can be something that plays out with you and this person, but it also has to do with you and what's going on with you. In order for you to feel like there's harmony emotionally, to sort of reset things in that way, conflict has to be addressed. But if you're not even looking at that in the first place, it really, nothing is happening. If something is still not being worked out, if there's still conflict there, that's what's making it difficult to see. Meaning something has to be worked out first. It feels like trying to make a decision when there's active play going on. It's easier to make a plan when everybody's off the court, but if you're on the court in the middle of a play and trying to see what's going on, it feels like it's difficult to do that. And why are we trying to make a decision then at that point? Even though it can feel kind of like it has to happen now. Okay. So from everything I'm seeing here, this feels like one of those times when you have something going on, something happened in a way that you didn't want it to happen. This doesn't mean that you need to jump ship completely. This is, I'm being like kind of reductive here, but I just want to spit this out as I'm seeing it. You have something going on, you're emotionally tied to it. Your idea of how things function properly when they function is one thing, and something about that didn't live up to your expectation. Something about your idea of this is how things are supposed to look. Something happened that was not reflective of that, and so you're having your feelings about that. And then you're feeling conflict because it's like, that's happening, but I'm feeling like this. And now there's conflict that has to be worked out, but it can be worked out. And this almost feels like wanting to run away at this inconvenience that's happening, but it's really not necessary, because this is something where stuff can actually function better, but you have to admit to what you see as not going the way that you wanted it to go. If you are looking at something and feeling like it can work a specific way and that it should, as you get to have a preference here, because this is a relationship that you're involved in, you have an idea of how something looks when it's functioning properly. Something about that did not live up to your expectations of how it should be. So there's if it's functioning great, it looks like this. Something happened and it was not functioning the way that you had expectations of it. But when there's this not admitting to it, and then there being that tension and that conflict there, or even this, it just feels like something that hasn't been totally brought together here, is the feeling that I get from it. Like, I'm trying my best to articulate what I'm seeing here. If you have expectations, and these feel like expectations that make sense, because I'm seeing something works well. If there is an issue where something is not functioning at its highest potential, it makes sense why you'd feel the way that you're feeling, but that means then that something needs to be fixed, something needs to be addressed, something needs to be worked out. But that part of you that can be having a difficult time sort of owning that you're looking at something and saying it's not working to its potential or how I think that it should be, it really feels like it's not allowing something to be addressed because we're not even addressing the fact that you're looking at something and feeling like it's not functioning properly. And so it's not being addressed because you're not even owning the fact of how you're feeling. So if you're not calling out something and saying that it's a problem, what is there to do? An issue has to be recognized in order for, that's the first step in order for it to be addressed. I wonder too if you were just like dwelling in this. I get sort of a split response. You could have either felt a type of way about it and shoved it down and then you're feeling uneasy because something actually needs to be worked out and you're trying to dismiss it instead. Or you could have felt upset about what happened and then it's like this hopeless feeling when all you have to do is just work something out. You just need to tinker around and move things around and then it works the way that it's supposed to again. But this feels like either ignoring it, that's not going to make the change that needs to happen. And only dwelling in your feelings, but then not taking action and listening to the message that they're telling you, that's not going to do anything either. You're just sitting there dwelling within it. And so nothing is happening either way. So it feels like a very obvious, that's why I'm seeing when I pulled out what was getting in the way of you seeing things clearly with this Two of Swords, having King of Cups come out, saying that's what your block is showing that you're not grounded emotionally and there's some type of work emotionally that needs to be done in order for you to get centered, and you're not centered, and that's why you're not seeing things clearly. Because this feels like a very obvious, like you step in and something about this is going to shift and it's going to help you get back on track with this very obvious track that you want to be on, be inspired to be there. But right now you can be feeling like, I don't even know if I want to walk on this path anymore, and it feels like very obvious that that's actually where you want to be, but you're having a momentary wanting to sort of get away from this because it upset you, and so you're feeling triggered by that. It does feel very clear the way that I'm seeing the energy unfold within this. You need to be present to yourself emotionally and see really what's going on with you emotionally to really honor your being, honor your state of being here. That you did feel disappointed, that you did have different expectations, that this didn't totally align with that in this scenario. That you don't need to jump ship just because this thing happened. It can feel like an intense thing or an upsetting thing, or you really feel down because of it. And also there's something that can be done and things can actually get better, things can actually work then, is what I'm seeing. So you can go from using that, rather than just solely sitting within that feeling and not doing anything about it, to take that as a sign and to be able to align things, to bring this together. Because I'm seeing that this thing that you're experiencing, this doesn't have to be a common thing that you experience again and again. You just need to bring this to the table and say, this is how I felt, and sort of explain that, where you are emotionally with things. And then it's going to allow stuff to go back to functioning properly the way that it is meant to. But there's going to have to be a vulnerability here, because before you can even hope to express anything with the sun, which we have in the last row of this, before you can hope to express anything, you're going to have to understand what's going on with you. Because if you don't really do this deep dive here, what are you going to be reflecting? It's going to be something that feels off or out of touch. You have to get in touch first in order to then express yourself. And this does feel like it leads to a place where you do this, getting to the center of how you're feeling, it looks like this has to do with a relationship. It has to do with a setting that it's important for it to function properly, and you want it to. And even though you're hitting a bump in the road here, it's not something that you can't fix. It feels like actually it's not difficult at all to fix. Above the 5 of Wands, I'm seeing 6 of Wands. It gets addressed, it gets fixed, and then things are actually very much back on track. But what is not being seen is what's not being seen, what's not happening is you stepping in and taking the steps that it needs to actually, the situation needs to actually address this. And why wouldn't you be doing that? Because there's a part of you that's feeling a little bit like you want to push this thing away, even though normally it's something that you feel really excited about and it's not that, or happy to be doing, or it's really the thing that fits for you. And it's not that it doesn't right now, but you can be feeling a bit uninspired. You can be feeling like you kind of want to be left alone, or like you don't want to be present to this emotionally because you just got upset over something, which is totally normal to be feeling. At the same time, you want to abandon something completely just because you're feeling like that, and it's a temporary feeling that you're having, and it needs to come all the way back to seeing how you really feel about this and getting to the bottom of it and realizing, I felt hurt, I felt disappointed, I had expectations that this was going to be happening, that didn't happen, and then I'm here trying to take care of myself through that. This feels like a lot of sensitivity here with all of the cups as well, and how when there's stuff going on that's unprocessed, it gets in the way of seeing things clearly when it feels very obvious. Because this even feels, having 2 of Swords and having Page of Wands and having the Sun, it feels like not seeing that this path that you're on, you love it, and that it's actually very much in alignment for you to be there, and that you feel very happy with it. But having 2 of Swords, it's this thing that comes up that makes us not be able to see. And then it can put you in a position where you can feel like you have to make a decision or something about this, when I don't think that that's necessary at all. It feels more like a breakthrough, and you're somewhere that you want to be with Page of Wands and having the Sun there. This is a path that is very, very aligned. It's very reflective of your Sun energy, and I think of your Moon too. This is just getting everything to sort of be on the same page here. Because there are things that can be done here that can help, but then it feels like not doing that. And it's all about this thing that needs to be worked out, and it has to do with what's being worked out is the difference between your expectations for how things function versus what happened, and that needing to be worked out, that needing to be addressed. And sort of the shape that that's left you in, and having to figure out, why does this bring up emotional turmoil for you? Where is that coming from? How do you feel? And that's actually what's been kind of making you feel like, maybe I don't want to be doing this anymore. Maybe I don't really care about this, when that's not actually the case. It's temporarily how you're feeling, but it's not overall how you feel, is what I'm seeing. So it would be also really wild to make a big old choice based off of something that's more of a mood. But that is where this is coming from. That's where this is coming from. Something that usually is like making you so happy, you have something that was like contrary to that. And so you have this moment where you're feeling hurt, where you're feeling how you're feeling. When you're feeling low, you feel like you got excited and now you got let down. And that doesn't feel very happy to me. And so that part of you that's used to sort of feeling that more rush of energy about that is sort of like having to compensate now, and it could have like made you question everything. It feels a little bit extreme, but also I'm seeing how that can be. This is also about working on being in a place emotionally where you're showing up for yourself emotionally. And you're learning how to use your coping strategies, and you're learning how to ground your energy, and you're learning how to center, especially when things come through that do impact you, that you feel impacted by, and how to not identify with that so much that you lose sight of the bigger picture here. Because I even see this doing something where you could have not wanted to express yourself then. But also, too, it's better that you don't say anything until you come into this place of understanding what was really going on for you, and then you can do it from there. Then you can say something from there. But if you're not really touching base with yourself, and then you're trying to, make decisions or do this or do that, or then your ego's triggered and now you want to do something, it feels like it just creates more and more distance between these two parts of yourself, which are actually supposed to be working together. I am seeing that things are going to work out. I'm definitely seeing that this path that you're on is where you want to be, and it definitely is in alignment, even though you can be feeling like a little less enthusiastic about it right now. It's not that you don't want to be there, it's that this is conflict and it needs to be worked out, and then you're going to be like, oh yeah, I am so happy to be here. It's just going to be one of those that happens with this. What's not allowing you to feel at peace or like things are harmonious from an emotional standpoint? Having High Priestess here shows that your moon energy and the preferences and the values of your moon energy, this can give you more insight about that. When it comes to the things that you're involved in that are supposed to work a certain way, that when they do, you feel like emotionally stable, these things that you're involved in. Having the moon be there, it can indicate stuff about sort of what you're looking for there and why you felt impacted the way that you did. What your expectations were, even what your preferences are, even. This is going to allow for things to change. I do get the sense of maybe wanting to make a choice about this before working out the conflict, and it feels like that would not be, it's not the time to do that. Address conflict first, and then it feels like things are actually going to be made abundantly clear. And ultimately, what's going to end up happening is that you'll be like, oh, I am on the right path. This is where I want to be. I do love that this is where I am and what I'm doing. That's where you're going to get to. There could have been a part of you that kind of didn't want to do the work a little bit here, because you were feeling upset. This all comes from a place of when you feel like you sort of get the wind knocked out of you, you don't feel that enthusiastic anymore, but this is the basis of where all of this comes from. You are in a position where, because we have Queen of Cups and because we have the High Priestess here, there's a vulnerability emotionally. You felt impacted in a way that doesn't feel good to be impacted, and then all of this stuff sort of happens like a domino effect. And then you get to the point where you're thinking, maybe you don't want to be a part of something anymore. Maybe you want to turn away from something completely. When really this is all about having not totally come to terms with how you felt. And then taking action based off of that to work things out so things can go back to being normal. Maybe you also felt like you didn't know what to do, to like what would be the best move here. but it feels kind of obvious now at this point. Also, too, what can make it difficult to see things is that when something happens and you feel overwhelmed by it and like you kind of need to disengage from it because it's hard to sort of stay within there feeling that, there can be this it can just make it difficult to see something as it really is because of only seeing how you're feeling in that moment. So if there's something that normally you feel happy to be doing, a path that you actually want to be on, and right now you're not about it, it's because of this. That's what it all comes back to. And it feels very much like a move needs to be made on your part in order to express what you are feeling so things can be worked out and things can move forward then. That's what I'm seeing, okay? All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I'd like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.